week we covered a lot of topics, and this week again, there's lots and lots to cover. So today, it's going to be a fast train. So hang on tight and tie your seat belts as well. And how many of you all attended last week's session? If you could raise your hands. So there's a button at the bottom which says there's an option to raise your hand if you attended last session. And okay, about 5 of you attended. The rest, okay, there are a few more hands raising. Now, what kind of, I want to ask, because Vaishnav etiquette is a wonderful topic, and like many times I ask, if you've gone for a massage, they ask you, would you like some light massage, medium, or strong? So I don't know how it was last week for you all, but how would you like today's massage, Vaishnav etiquette? Soft, medium, or what you need to hear, which is strong? Anybody? Unmute.
I think perhaps yeah, not bad idea. So
others are like, oh, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, we would like to hear the truth, that how it should be.
Okay.
okay.
Right. How about others?
The truth, Prabhuji.
Okay.
How it should be.
All right. Wonderful. So one disclaimer is, which I forgot to mention actually I did mention last time too, I think, is that whatever I'm going to speak is not for an individual or a group or anything like that. Whatever I'm going to speak is from the Vaishnav etiquette book, from the Vaishnav etiquette website, put by some senior devotees, and a lot of stuff has been extracted from it because it may not necessarily apply to us. It may apply to temples, etc. And also, so don't take it personally. And I'm speaking from my heart. As something comes up, I will mention that. I will speak that. I have not really, focused on a specific area per se. All right. So with that, let's see. Okay. So we are starting today with the topic of. Last time we finished with cleanliness. Can you keep clicking, please? General behavior. So there's a lot of topics within this general behavior. And I would request, Meetha, would you be able to read?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Let me just get my glasses, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. General behavior. One should always remember that one is a devotee and is representing a guru and Krishna, whether in temple or at home, at work, in the office, or out of the street. One should conduct in a way that draws appreciation to Guru and Krishna, and should avoid all conduct that will bring Guru and Krishna disrepute.
Continue. Let's until I say pause.
Okay, sure. As far as possible, devotees should avoid using any items made up of leather, knowing that to be the result of animal slaughter. Unless unavoidable in one's service, one should refrain from wearing leather shoes and also items like bags, wallets, watch straps, etc. Even and particularly when one is criticized or offended, one should conduct oneself with dignity. While one may certainly take precautions against being cheated or take action where necessary, one should be careful to avoid picking up quarrels, indulging in useless argumentation, and so on. A devotee must be particularly careful in dealing dealings with the opposite sex. Srila Rupa Goswami says that a devotee must not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. In other words, one should not give up basic courtesies and formalities, considering them to be mundane, and oneself should be transcendental. To touch someone with one's foot is offensive. If one has to walk past seated devotees in temple, for example, one should extend one's hand to indicate that one wishes to go by, and they will move their knees to let one pass.
Okay. So here, there are many different topics. I'll touch on a few of them. So many of us, or all of us, don't eat meat. We're vegetarians. Some are Krishnatarians, which means you eat mainly prasadam, not just vegetarian. But then we forget about what about products that come from animals like leather, belt and wallets and purses and whatever else, leather seats in a car. We are supporting this industry, so just be conscious about that as well. When I took this up seriously, I changed. I discarded my leather shoes, my work shoes, and I realized that there's a whole big market of leatherette or artificial leather shoes. There's in fact stores that just make non-leather shoes and non-leather. They look like leather, so it's not that I'm wearing sneakers and going to my management meetings. Then there's belts and everything else. It's available if you want it. It's available. So keep that in mind, especially when we're going to temples and all. We should avoid all this. The other thing it mentions about, it's very easy that when somebody criticizes somebody else or a friend, or we generally don't tend to say anything, but the moment the finger turns towards me, then we get offended and we lose our mental equilibrium, and we start becoming who we were not. Sometimes we see people who are always nice, but suddenly when something is said, they turn into somebody that you never knew about this person. So here in one of the bullets, it says that that we must be humble. We must try not to pick quarrels and indulge in useless argumentation. And that is a real test. I mean, if it's something really big, it's one thing. Somebody breaks into my house and does something. Obviously, I'm not going to say, Prabhu, you forgot this room. This room also has a few other things. But if somebody, is saying something for something you've not done, especially it's a devotee or so, it's a test. How we remain humble, even if we have to convey the message, but we don't start becoming argumentative and say, okay, you're telling me about this. Yeah, I'm sorry, Prabhu. But you know what? Hold on. I have a long list of problems with you too, and you did these things as well. That is retaliation. That is tit for tat. Devotees don't do tit for tat. Okay, let's go. Anybody has any question on this topic? Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, and Sanjana, would you be able to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, please go ahead.
While attending discourses, one should be very attentive and silent. A talkative or sleepy devotee has a discouraging and distracting influence on the speaker and on the assembled devotees. It does not also project a good image of our mission. If one feels excessively sleepy, one should move to the side of the hall and stand up. One should avoid moving in and out of the temple or room where the discourse is being taken place. This causes great disturbance. Parents must control their children. If the children become noisy, they must be kept outside the temple. Relevant and pertinent questions may be asked, and in a humble spirit. Do not answer your own questions. Avoid starting to set up tables and chairs for prasadam or serving prasadam, as it would cause a lot of disturbance and is disrespectful to the speaker. Unless requested by your authority, prasadam setup can be done quietly. Do not miss class to chant, talk, or mingle with other devotees unless it's important service.
Yeah, so attending class, which means Shravanam, hearing, right? One of the first process of devotional service starts with Shravanam. So hearing is so important because that's where knowledge comes in. If you have knowledge, then you would love Krishna. If you don't know anything about Krishna, how are you going to develop that love for Krishna? How are you going to develop faith in this movement? How are you going to develop nishtha or conviction that this is the process? Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna and everything else. So hearing is one of the most key thing, and people miss out on this hearing aspect. Generally, hearing is given as a secondary thing, right? While I'm driving, while I'm cooking, while I'm doing something else. Even our chanting, which is the process is not just speaking, kirtanam, but is also hearing. That also is many times done with doing something else on the side. Now, when we do it on the side, now imagine you're studying for your exams, whichever you're in school or you're in college, you're doing your postgraduate, whatever that may be. Imagine you're doing something else along with that. You're obviously going to fail when it comes to your exam results, because why? You didn't pay full attention. But when it comes to spiritual activities, we tend to give it second importance. So we do this as well and here also. Now, some of you might be doing that right now as I'm speaking. You're doing something else and hearing my class. Now, what will happen is neither will you understand or grasp whatever else you're doing, nor you'll be able to do justification to giving your full 1 hour, precious hour, to listening to what I'm saying, which is just repeating the words of the acharyas and senior devotees. So rather, it's good to be online and it's good to just show support, but if things can be put aside for when you're chanting, when you're hearing, when you're doing your japa, when you're hearing in a class, give that your utmost importance. These days in Kali Yuga, we can't sit more than an hour anyways. But for that 1 hour, at least give concentrated hour. What happens is if you're in a temple or in a Sunday program or in a seminar, sometimes it becomes so casual that, yeah, it's Sunday, what's the big deal? That we end up doing other things during the class. And I always wonder, when I look at devotees in the lobby, chatting, gossiping, apart from if they have if they have reception service, or if they're involved in some service, that's separate. But other than that, when I see devotees just, hey, Haripal, how are you? A long time, this, I wonder that do you really know more than that person who's speaking there? I ask this question to myself, do these people really? Do they think that this person who's speaking, are they taking that person for granted? To me, that respect is not there. If somebody is speaking and I'm doing something outside which is not important, it's disrespectful. And not only is it disrespectful, when I see them, I lose respect for them as well. So same way, if I'm doing that, some serious, sincere devotees, they're going to lose respect for me. They may not have the relationship to come and tell me. But that's what happened. So we must really be conscious about this. It's very important. And we will realize it we won't realize it actually until we are in that position of giving a class, where later on we found out that person XYZ are just not even there. So we must give full attention. And while in the class, obviously no side talks, and if you're falling asleep, it's okay to go back and stand up. So parents should always make sure that children are well taken care of. And sometimes if you want to attend the class and your little child is also making noise, we have to sacrifice that class in order that other people in the class can hear properly. That sacrifice we may have to make. Or in parents' case, we did this for many, many years, where one of the parent is taking care of the little child outside, and the other parent is taking the benefit of attending the class. The questions also, we should try and see if there's somebody new in the community, in the class, new person who would like to ask the question. Not that, every time the moment comes, does anybody have a question? That it's me who has to ask the question. And that question, the answer sometimes takes up the rest of the time. So just be patient for a minute or so. See if there's anybody who never asks or is new, has a question or not, because they are curious. We probably know the answer to. We are probably devotees who've been coming regularly. Sometimes we ask questions for others. And when asking a question, we should not correct, the etiquette is not, whatever the speaker says, well, actually, you know what, it is this and that also. That's very disrespectful. We may know the answer. Sometimes spiritual master may say something, or sometimes spiritual master even says, what is that verse? Or they may forget something in between. We don't rectify. We don't say that, oh, this is how the verses completes. We have to be very, very cautious, and this comes with maturity in Krishna consciousness. And the last couple of points that I said is very relevant to places where, prasadam is served in the same hall like ours, that when the program is still going on, as much as possible, we must wait, and then quickly set things up, because we've done the entire class nicely, and at the end, we don't want to lose focus. And again, the person speaking the class, I always say, utmost respect should be given to somebody who's sitting on Vyasasana. Next, anybody has a question on this one? And lectures also, attending class means, prepare yourself, come early, stay for the, not just like you jump into the class and then you have no idea where it started, what it was, nothing. We have to prepare ourselves, and that starts with the program before that, which is Gaura Arti. And calm yourself down, drop services. It's okay. We don't have to find services during a lecture. Some people tell me I'm not into philosophy, I like kirtans. But Prabhu, Mataji's, how would you get taste of kirtan? How? If you don't understand the philosophy. If you don't read about Krishna, how would you get taste in his holy names? It's not possible. And then some people say that, I love philosophy, I just can't chant. But Prabhus, how will you chant? It's both are intermingled. So it is not one over the other. Both has to be done. Otherwise, it's not possible. Attending Arti. All right, let's see. Sandali Mataji, can you read this?
Hare Krishna. Sure, Prabhu.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Attending Aarti, plan your day in such a way that you can make it on time for Aarti. Srila Prabhupada further apprehends this in the Nectar of Devotion, the benefit of seeing the Aarti performed. In the Kanda Purana, there is the following description of the result of the seeing the Aarti worship of the deity. If someone sees the face of the Lord while Aarti is going on, he can be relieved of all sinful reactions coming from many thousands and millions of years past. He is even excused from the killing of the Brahmanas or similar prohibited activities. Avoid any other unimportant activities, gossips, or missing Aarti to complete your rounds.
Yes, see how important here it is mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. Aarti is not just kirtan. It's not just kirtan. It's once a week. Most of us are grihasthas who visit the temple once a week. Once a week or twice a week, maybe. And even in that, if you miss out the most important programs, which is your Gaura Arti, your Sunday class, if there's Tulsi Arti, if there's Guru Puja in the evenings, and Prasadam, then you missed a lot. All of these individually are very important. I've seen many times devotees who on Sundays consider the Sunday program as their time to finish their rounds. Well, guess what? Sunday program is not the time to finish your rounds. we are setting a wrong example, especially those who are initiated. Initiated devotees have to lead by example on chanting japa. Otherwise, what will happen? A new person will do the same thing. During a class, during Aarti, they'll go outside and sit on the steps or somewhere and start doing their japa. Japa should be done first priority. Aarti is the time when the deities are watching us. When the pujari is doing the Aarti, the deities are always present, but they're especially seeing and watching who's there singing, who's there dancing. So we must give our full attention and focus. And it's joyful. It should be joyfully done. When kirtan happens and our heart doesn't feel like dancing, doesn't feel joyful, there's something somewhere wrong. And we have to ask ourselves, why am I not feeling joyful in the midst of devotees? The association of devotees is what will save us, is what will protect us. And I'm in the midst of devotees. I'm surrounded by doctors. I'm in a hospital. I have the best of the machines. And yet I'm feeling scared that what will happen to me. So there's something wrong. If we come with any problems, any tensions, depressions, anxiety, stress, whatever it may be, but we are in the midst of devotees who are chanting kirtan, it is bound to elevate us from our problematic situation. Guaranteed. But it is our mind that sometimes doesn't allow us to do that. It is us only, usually. So that comes with focus. Focus on the sound vibration. When the kirtan is going and the devotees are dancing, you don't feel like dancing? It's okay, don't dance. You don't feel like singing? Don't sing. But ask yourself that if I do this, I'll start feeling blissful. At least a little bit. Make an attempt. Some things must be bothering us. Then at least hear nicely. But it is so important when the aarti is going off and the paraphernalias are being offered to the deities that we focus on that. Many times aarti is going on, dancing is going on, the deities are right in front. And guess where what? The attention is on this side, what those Matajis are doing. Or on that side, what these Prabhus are doing. Or on the other side, what is being cooked or what is being done there. No, our attention should be on the deities. Our attention should be on the aarti. For a long time, devotees come and sing Gaur Aarti. And if we ask them to sing the Gaur Aarti, they do not know the lyrics, which means during the Gaur Aarti or any other Aarti, all they have done is have their body there and not pay attention to what's being done. Because without even studying the lines, sitting and literally studying, writing down, if we hear the same thing for weeks and months, we're supposed to know the exact words. Forget about memorizing. I'm talking about if I ask somebody to sing the lyrics of Gaur Aarti by reading, they will not be able to pronounce the names rightly. Why? Because we have not paid attention during the Aarti. I never read and memorized Gaur Aarti or Guru Ashtakam prayers, never. But just by hearing them, memorized it. So it is important that when Aarti is going on, we don't look here and there. When the horse is running in a race, they put straps on the horse. Why? So the horse doesn't look here and lose a millisecond in the race, doesn't lose time. Is focused on what's in front. And when in Aarti, in front are the deities. We should be focused on taking that beautiful darshan. Very important, devotees. Don't get distracted. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, dear Krishna Prabhu, would you like to read? Jagdishwar Prabhu, would you like to read? Okay.
Prasadam. Nirmala refer to the garland, flowers, Karnamrita, Charnamrita, ghee lamp, and tulsi leaves. that the pujaris offer to the Lord during the puja. After the puja is completed, the devotee should accept these items saying, Jai Mahaprasadam. Flower garlands. One should not disrespect the Nirmal by stepping on it or leaving it in the unclean place. After being properly respected, garlands and flowers can be taken and disposed in backyard. Accept prasad flowers, flower garland by touching them to the head, wearing them and smelling them. Accept tulsi garland simply by touching and smelling them, but not wearing them. Charanamrita. Drinking the bath water of Vishnu is powerful enough to destroy the effects of 1 million sins such as killing of other entities. To avoid spillage, hold your left hand under your right hand when receiving flowers, tulsi leaves or charanamrita. Do not throw away nirmalya in garbage or sink. Honor, consume it. Ghee lamp. After the arti, the ghee lamp is first brought to Srila Prabhupada, then senior devotee, especially Srila Prabhupada disciples, sannyasis, temple president. Lamp is not meant to show respect or honor to us, but rather we are meant to offer respect to the lamp as the Lord pressed by touching the fire to our forehead, briefly with both hands and saying Jai Mahaprasad.
Thank you. So, Mahaprasad is not just food. Mahaprasad is flowers, garlands, charnamrita, ghee lamp, like this. This is all Mahaprasad that comes to us for seeking blessings. And we should be always conscious and respectful of it. Generally, to people outside, when we give a garland, they take the garland and they take it out because they feel, hey, I don't deserve this. But for devotees, or they feel shy, or, this is too much. For devotees, when somebody offers garlands, we beg for it, actually. It's Mahaprasad. It's been offered to the Lord. The Lord has worn it. That's why we wear it. Not because, hey, I'm somebody great. And we smell the garland. And then we offer it to somebody else, other devotees. So others also can take the benefit of this Mahaprasad. We have to be careful where we keep it, how we discard it. Flowers, end of the day, when we do flower abhishek and all that, we just don't throw them in the garbage. At least in our center, I all the time tell devotees, take as many flower petals as you want. If you have a backyard, put it in your backyard, front yard, whichever. So all the devotees, they collect flowers, they take it with them. We don't throw a single petal in the garbage unless it's dropped on the floor. That also we try and collect. But if it's spoiled, it's a different story. But otherwise, we should never throw them in the garbage. Next, also the ghee lamp, for example, we have to be careful when the ghee lamp goes around. In our temples, we have Prabhu's section and the Mataji section. When all the Nirmalyas or all the Mahaprasadas, like the flower, the ghee lamp, the water, when it comes back, the Prabhu's side, the Prabhu should do it. And on the Mataji side, we should then hand it over to Mataji to do it. Not that the Prabhu would walk around in between the Matajis and vice versa. It is very important. Even when the flower, which is offered to the deities, once the pujari offers flowers, they generally give you a couple of flowers. One of them, give it to one of the Matajis so they can take it. And then the Prabhus can, so in parallel, both are given. And even the sanctified water, when we sprinkle the water also, you do it on the Prabhu's side, then give it to the Matajis. Let them do that seva on their side. We don't have to, it's not holy, hey, pani dalo sabke upar. No, it should be done very systematically. It's not a time to, chalo holi khelte, or the sprinkler has started because, no, it should be put on the head, a few drops here, few drops there, few drops here. So we have to be very careful in these things. These are not just anything, an ordinary thing. See, unknowingly we may do it's one thing, but now today I'm telling you, everybody has heard this. You must take it seriously. Tomorrow we cannot say, I didn't know about this. We have to respect each and every paraphernalia of the Lord when we are handling it. Next one. Other etiquettes. All right, let's see. Gokul Priyamataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Other etiquettes, handling sacred items. Books, beads, kartals, etc. should not be kept on the floor or in unclean places and should be respected as worshipable paraphernalia. One should not touch one's feet to anything sacred or use one's feet to do what could be done with one's hands. If a sacred object falls to the ground or one's foot touches, one should quickly pick it up and touch it to one's head. One should not step over books, devotees, prasadam, flowers that have been offered to the Lord, or even any sacred articles. All sacred articles should be kept in a neat, clean place and handled with care. They should not be tossed about, but carefully handed over from person to person. Sacred items like beads, books, tilak, etc. should not be taken into the bathroom. One should be very careful in handling pictures of Guru and Krishna. They should be handled with great care and respect. Special mention may be made of Harinam chadars. Since the holy name is printed on cloth, it is sacred object and should not be touched to the floor. One should be careful while offering obeisances that the bead bag in one's hand does not touch the floor. It may be kept aside before offering obeisances. One should be very careful in handling deities' paraphernalia like their clothes, jewelry, vessels, etc. For instance, clothes and towels should be nicely folded and kept. The vessels should be placed in a proper place, and so on. If one touches one's head to the floor or anything unclean, one should wash hands before touching deity paraphernalia again.
Yes. So we have to be deity sacred items, very, very important. And we shouldn't feel that, hey, I'm qualified to do this. No, we are actually qualified to do nothing. It's one thing that when the movement started, Srila Prabhupada had to utilize whoever was available. And these were the hippies. So he used them, he utilized them in serving, doing many services. But as the movement grew, the standards also kept growing. We should be very careful in touching the deity paraphernalia. In temples, it's less of an issue because in the deity room, only the pujaris are allowed to enter. The second initiates usually. And handling their items. Sometimes initiated devotees may be called to clean the paraphernalia. But we have to be careful otherwise that after we've gone to the toilet, we should not touch deity paraphernalia. What to speak about deity paraphernalia? If you pass stool, we should even avoid going into the temple room because we'll touch other devotees, we'll touch pujaris. One must take shower. Now, it may not be possible to take shower in the temple. In that situation, worst case scenarios, at least we should put 3 drops on our head, on our feet, but avoid contact as much as possible. Well, that day I have service, Prabhu, I have to clean the pots in the kitchen. Well, guess what? Tell your authority that you had to go for nature's call. And they most likely will say, you know what? Thank you for being honest. It's okay. We'll arrange for somebody else. But if this happens on every Sunday, then that's a problem. So don't take advantage of that. But otherwise, we should avoid. Not say that, oh, you know what, I am pure from inside. Why external? Well, external does matter. Because, if somebody did that, and if you went to a restaurant, somebody just says, you didn't come, it took some long time, waiter. Well, I just went to the loo, and that's why. You'll be like, oh, he's serving me, whatever he's serving me. So deities also, we have to be very careful. Also, if you're touching garbage, right? If you're touching garbage, we must clean ourselves before we touch anything. or anybody. That's all this is given. But very important that after we pass stool, that we should not be engaged in services like that. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Let's go to next. All right. Raktak Prabhu, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Other etiquettes. Krishna is no different than his paraphernalia, and treating Krishna's paraphernalia badly means to treat Krishna badly. True bhakti will then not appear in our hearts. We have to be conscious at all times that all these different items are not ordinary items, but they are to be used in Krishna's service and therefore worshipable.
Yes, very important. Next. Continue, please. You can continue, Raktak Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, sorry. Personal habits. One who is serious about spiritual life should rise early in the morning, preferably before the Brahma Muhurat, or that is 1.5 hours before sunrise. After waking up, first brush your teeth. One should then bathe in cold water, and after wearing fresh clothes, begin the day's sadhana. Bath should be taken after rising early in the morning. Long naps of more than an hour. Passing stool, excessively perspiring, or being contaminated in any way after visiting crematorium. Personal hygiene and cleanliness should be maintained. Nails should be kept clean and clipped short. Nail clipping should be thrown in the dustbin. Srila Rupa Goswami even mentions that one should carefully clean one's teeth properly and regularly.
So as I was reading this, I was like, does this really happen? I mean, isn't this common sense, some of this? Well, because it happens, that's why it's mentioned, right? There are things that are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita Bible because there are things that happened, and that's why it's mentioned according to time, place, and circumstance. So here, some of these standards are really high standards. We may not be able to do some of it, but we must always endeavor to do it. You may not be able to rise early in the morning during the Brahma Muhurta, but at least you can rise at 5:30, 6 o'clock, but one should always be eager to do this. Otherwise, we will never come up to that standard. And if our sadhana is not strong, especially the morning sadhana, it'll have a rippling effect on us for the rest of our life. We can easily measure the dealings of certain devotees, their sadhana, their challenges, the behavior, and find out how their morning program is. Most of the time, there's a direct relationship. After I wake up, can I just start chanting? No. Not until we are that pure, exalted devotee, which, like Shabri, you can taste what you've cooked and then offer to Krishna. Not until then. So first and foremost, at the minimum, we must clean, brush our teeth, and then start our japa. But recommended is we should take a bath as well. Get fresh. Cold showers may be difficult. Take a shower at least. Well, I have to go. I get pressure. I don't get pressure. Then after half an hour, 1 hour, I get pressure. Well, it's good to still take a shower, even if you have to do 2 times. But I'll leave it that up to you. Everybody's standards are different, but it's best to do this. If you're initiated, especially, spiritual masters would never recommend us to go even into the temple room or see the deities if we've not taken shower. Passing stool, I already talked about. So let's go to next. Okay, Saurabh, would you like to read?
Sure. Personal habits continued from the previous one. Hands and legs should be washed after passing water, and should be washed properly with soap after passing a stool. Brahmana initiates should wrap their sacred threads around their right ear while using the toilet. Second one, only the right hand should be used for eating, chanting on the beads, offering something, accepting something, etc. Third one, wash hands, feet, and mouth before and after honoring prasadam. Fourth one, sannyasis should bathe 3 times a day. Grasthas and brahmacharis at least twice a day. Next one should take rest about 6 to 6.5 hours every night. Too much sleep or too little sleep is not good for our Krishna consciousness. Next one should try to sleep on the floor or on a hard surface. Luxurious soft bed should be avoided. It is best to sleep on one's left side, if not, then on back, but never on one's stomach. One should not waste Krishna's energy like soap, toothpaste, electricity, water, etc. One should turn off the lights and fans whenever and wherever they are not required. The last, one should spend Krishna's money wisely and with responsibility, asking oneself if this expenditure is really necessary for enhancing Krishna's service.
Thank you. So as I'm this slide, especially when I'm reading this, I was thinking about how many children are in this class today. A lot of the parents are there, but are your kids also, those who are in an understanding age and above, are they really in this Vaishnava etiquette class? I don't know. And the answer may be yes or no. But it is important for our children to know these etiquettes, because from childhood, if they learn these etiquettes, then they will be in a very, very good position in their Krishna conscious life and even outside in the material life. But sometimes the parents have never taught them these things, these basic things that we learned from our parents, our grandparents, and watching other elders do this. I've seen many times devotees eat prasadam and they would not even go to wash their hands, or they would just use the paper napkin and just wash it with that and go to doing their seva. That is not the way to do it. It has to be washed with water. Our method is not paper napkins. Even in toilets, just using paper napkins is not clean until water has been used. That's why we keep stressing, Prabhupada says, one must take shower. Temporary outside is one thing, but in situations where water is available, we should always utilize that. So it made me, I was just feeling inspired that maybe there should be a Vaishnava etiquette class dedicated to young children, to children, who can understand understandable age, high schoolers, middle schoolers, college goers, and have topics specific to them, dealings with elders, how to be having these personal habits. I think it will be very, very useful, and maybe put something together and do this in the near future if devotees think that if their kids will attend, because parents are parents, but sometimes when they hear, the children hear from others, it has bigger impact than the parents telling them 100 things, do this, don't do this. And they have to be told in a way that is, they can relate to. So just something I thought about. Next slide.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. May I
Yes.
ask a question?
Yes.
On that previous slide,
Yes.
regarding sleeping, it says to sleep on the left side and on your back, but not stomach. Can you explain that a little? Why?
So it's scientific. I don't have the scientific, but I have a practical and a realistic example. And I've faced this issue that whenever after eating, especially, that there is some acid reflux that happens. So if you sleep on your right side, there's an acid reflux that happens. I have faced this many times. And I heard once from a devotee that remember LSD is, who knows LSD? Something to do with drugs, I guess. But then the devotee explained LSD means left side down. And that's how you remember. And I started doing that. I started following that for sleeping on the left side. It was much, much better. If there's a doctor here or somebody from the scientific background, they can explain. But sleeping on one's stomach also, so then everything, the entire weight also falls in the stomach after eating, especially at night, is not recommended. So back is okay, but sleeping on the left side is better. Try that tonight and let me know how you feel. This is nothing shastric, nothing behind that. This is more your biological reasons for that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
All right, Kirtan. So let's have somebody who's not Sri Harsha Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Leading Kirtan at satsang is an honor as one is representing the whole congregation before the deities. Therefore, one should be conscious of this and lead only one is asked to. We should sing only those kirtans which are authorized. There are standard melodies to be sung at specific times of the day. In particular, in the morning, program the Samsara Dava prayers and Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be sung in the morning melody. All devotees should enthusiastically sing in chorus. Kirtan should be sweet and melodious and not simply loud.
Yeah, so this Kirtan is our second process of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. So Kirtan is so important as well. And it has to be done. Now here we're talking about the singing part of the Kirtan. It has to be heart-touching. It has to be, it doesn't matter whether you're a good singer or not. The point is not that. The point is to do it, again, the impact will be there when there is purity. Prabhupada says purity is the force. So when we hear, even today, when we hear Prabhupada singing, it has such a strong impact. It brings tears to our eyes. It gives a full attention. And on the other side, you have some of the best singers and kirtanias. For a little while, it gives you that bliss, but not like when you hear Prabhupada. Purity is there, that sadhana, the practice is there. But the tunes, when we are singing in a congregation, community, or a temple, I was not born. I don't have a birthright that I must sing, unless we are told by senior devotees, or unless you are one of the kirtaniya leaders and you want to sing, and that's fine. But we should not feel that, why am I not given the singing? It is again a seva. It's again a service. Why am I not asked for cooking? Why am I not asked for pujari service? Well, if the larger the community, that means there's many more people who can do it. We can sometimes be in that position of being in the audience and relishing the prasadam cooked by others. We can be in that position by relishing the kirtan sung by others. We can be in that position where we let others do that service and get closer to Krishna. It doesn't always have to be us. So obviously, somebody taking the mic away, that is so offensive. That should never be done, and that is rarely done. And also, sometimes new people may come and they say, "Oh, can I sing this bhajan?" Right? It happened to me in Janmashtami, in the middle, like I'm announcing in the middle of 1,000 people, and one person comes and says, "Can I sing one Krishna bhajan? Can I sing one Krishna bhajan?" Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to this person, but at the same time, I can't acknowledge, and we have a full program, cultural program. How do I handle that situation? So I had to say, yes, please, just give me a few minutes. Then I would take them on the side and I'll explain them, talk to them. But we can't just sing any bhajans without knowing who it is, what it is, like that. Just because it has the name Krishna doesn't make it authentic. Then there are tunes to be followed. One time somebody said, "I want to sing Gaura Arti." The problem was, you can sing Gaura Arti. The problem was, when the person sings Gaura Arti, the musicians just cannot keep up with their singing of Gaura Arti, because sometimes they go to North Pole and sometimes their kirtan goes to South Pole. Now the kirtaniyas are like, what do we do in this situation? And the entire community who's following are not able to follow. So it's just like, if I'm cooking, I want to cook. Can I cook today's malai kofta? Sure, you can cook. You're also devotee chanting rounds. The problem is that you don't know which one, how much salt to put and how much something else to put, you see. So the result that comes out is not malai kofta, it's pav bhaji. So that is why sometimes the senior devotees, or those who are knowledgeable about these areas, they either train you, guide you, or we have to seek guidance. And when they feel that you're ready, then we can do that service. It doesn't mean that you're not qualified. It just means that you're not ready to do that service yet. Then there are standard melodies. Like somebody comes in the evening, Gaura Arti, and the tune goes very much like, Shayana Arti. Now, Gaura Arti, you're supposed to dance. Shayana Arti, you're supposed to put deities to rest. But sometimes it happens where Shayana Arti is such that deities are like dancing, we are dancing, and Gaura Arti, even the deities are sitting like this. So one has to know. It happened once when in the Gaura Arti, when Maharaj was there, he stopped the kirtan. He said, that tune is morning tune. Now, how do you know? Most people may not even know that. But at least if best thing is, then in that case, follow standard tunes. There are standard tunes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada built this entire movement on this tune. So we don't have to all the time look for something complex. And devotees should chant enthusiastically in chorus. What does that mean? Not just there is 3 or 4 people who just keep shouting loudly. Everyone should dance and sing. There should be like waves in the temple room, all the Prabhus holding hands and singing and dancing together. It has a solid impact when that happens. Next slide. Sudesh Prabhu, would you like to read?
Dancing. Srila Rupa Goswami states that one should learn to dance in front of the deities. Dancing should be graceful and enthusiastic, but not violent and wild. Dancing in the traditional Gauriya way, as demonstrated by Srila Prabhupada, should be the standard. In addition, dancing can take place in various formations. For example, rows of devotees rhythmically approaching each other and then receding devotees forming rows, one behind the other, and while continuing to face the deities, moving towards and then away from them rhythmically. Devotees are moving in a circle. Devotees should take care to see that the formations are maintained and that they are in line. While dancing in formation, devotees should raise hands, hold hands, etc., as may be required for that particular formation. This dancing is not a spectator sport, and devotees should not simply stand and watch. All should participate. However, those who are unwilling, particularly guests and newcomers, or those who are sick, should not be forced. Dancing in ways that can cause injury to devotees should be avoided. Men and women should dance in separate portions of the temple. One should watch the lead dancer always and synchronize.
Yes, thank you. So dancing is given so much importance, and we hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing so many times, chanting in Gundicha temple, chanting in Rath Yatras, not chanting, dancing in front of Jagannath. So this dancing is a very core part of our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. When I initially started going to the temple, I used to stand there like a pillar and watch everybody. And one day, one devotee came and just took my hand and pulled me into the dancing, which was a formation of lines going back and forth. And I started doing that. And I felt so joyful. I felt so nice. And again, when I was talking about hearing, knowledge, when I started reading more and more about Mahaprabhu, this mission, I understood that this dancing is not just because they're feeling high or just enjoying it, but this is also part of our culture, dancing joyfully. So this has to be done very, very systematically, very nicely. We should be careful of not getting hurt and not hurting others. And especially when there's little kids and there are elders, we have to be careful on how much force and pushing around and all those things we do. Between core devotees, it may be okay, but when we're trying to involve new people, it should be very elegantly done. It should be done very nicely, very smoothly, that it's palatable, it's to the eyes to even watch. Generally, we see the Matajis do very nicely. They're very nicely synchronized, and Prabhus take time to get there, but it usually, they want to use force. They want to run around and jump around, which is okay, but just be careful that if there's a new person, how they feel. And that's why it is important. Here it says that this is not a spectator sport. Devotees should not simply stand and watch. So we should get into it. We should actually, it is our responsibility. If sometimes we see that in the front there's dancing happening, in the back it's not. But we can be the one to start that. Just start a line, just hold people's hands and follow the leaders in the front and keep moving. And imagine, from 20 people dancing to 50 people dancing, then a whole congregation of 100 people dancing together, and then your congregation, 500 people dancing in synchronized mode, 1,000 people going back and forth. Baba, you don't even have to give a class. Just watching this, singing and dancing, new people get attracted to your community. You don't even have to give a class or speak. Just by this, I've seen that when I've gone to temples in India, certain temples like Radha Gopinath, devotees from senior to junior, everybody in synchronization, they're dancing back and forth. It looks so amazing. And I can't imagine how pleased the Lord must be. Next slide. Speech. Mahaprem Kirtan. Ashish Prabhu.
Speech. Before we speak, we should ponder whether is it necessary, is it kind, is it right. Devotees should avoid speech that offends, particularly blaspheming of the devotees, which is the first offense against the holy name. Vaishnava Aprad will surely choke our tender devotional creeper very quickly. The urge to speak is very strong, and as soon as we get an opportunity, we begin speaking. Srila Prabhupada explained that if we do not speak Krishna Katha, then we speak all sorts of nonsense. Such a talk is called prajalpa and is born of our material identification. Thus, devotee must refrain from it.
Yes, our speech will determine, it can make or break relationships, number one. It will also give an impression of us to others. I cannot hear what you say. I can see what you do. Your action speaks louder than your speech. So this is very important. We should have very loving, very sweet exchanges. should not be we should not be harsh at all in our speech. And when we make a mistake, sometimes I myself find myself, wow, why did I say this? How did this come out from my mouth? And as soon as we realize our mistake, the next is rectifying that and ensuring that I don't do that again. Otherwise, it could become a habit. So we must be very, very careful, especially those who are in management positions. They have to be extra careful because you will get stepped over, you'll get slapped left and right, you'll be criticized, you'll be said so many things because the buck stops at your door, because you're manager, you're temple president, you are this lead, you're that lead, you're head of this department. And that person has specially, their sadhana has to be so strong, because even if you're wrong, your speech has to still be very sweet and humble. The more senior you become, so-called, in Krishna consciousness, the more you have to learn to focus on these things. Those who are new will obviously not think before they speak. But as if we consider ourselves senior devotees, if we consider ourselves initiated devotees, we must think before we speak. Otherwise, what happens is devotees keep distance from us. If we cannot speak, if we speak unnecessary, if we speak Garamikatha, if our speech is harsh, what happens is genuine people around us will move away. And then we'll wonder what's happening. But it is our speech and speech only. Take it, for example, at workplace. If somebody you have who's always, who's rough, and would you ever want to be around them? You would not. The same applies in Krishna consciousness. And we have to be so careful. If somebody is speaking ill about someone, we should not become a messenger to take that message and share. This person was saying this about this person, and this person was saying this about you. I always ask myself, I can understand what that person was saying, but you've just exposed yourself. Because now you're coming and telling me something that you should really not be sharing. Because how does it add value? You're coming here and you're putting spices and you're telling me about this person said this and this person said that. And you're making me envy, you're making me angry to that person. Rather, I want to know, what did you tell that person? Don't think like that. Why are you thinking like this? It's not like that. If you know me, then you should have told that person to stop it. So we have to be careful, because as soon as we open our mouth, we expose ourselves. So if we don't want to expose ourselves, either we speak positive things, right things, or we keep our mouth shut. Otherwise, really, in the association of devotees, we will be taken as fools. One may not come and tell in front of us that you're a fool, but speech has to be very, very, it starts with the tongue. Self-glorification is one of the signs of foolishness. When somebody speaks in their speech, I and me is there most, then it explains. So we have to be very, very careful what we are speaking. With any devotees, if somebody is under my care or above me or my friend, we must be very careful to chastise and become angry. We do not have the right to do this in devotee association, unless you are their Siksha Gurus. And for their rectification, for their own benefit, not because they've done something that I don't like, but for their own benefit, you are saying something, spiritual master is scolding, that is different. Otherwise, our speech has to be very, even in outside of devotee association, you have to remember this. Next slide. Preaching. Ramtulsi Prabhu, would you like to read?
Preaching. Our actions and behavior are our best preaching, because action speaks louder than words. As the saying goes, your actions speak so loud that I cannot hear what you're saying. Ultimately, what will change people's heart is not simply the philosophy that we are speaking, but mainly to what extent we are imbibe the philosophy in our lives. and realize that knowledge practically. Our preaching should generally be done in a humble attitude and not in attitude of superiority. When preaching, we should simply repeat the words of the spiritual master and deliver his message like a postman, and we should never think that we know more than the previous acharya how to preach. We are empowered to the degree we are submissively preaching the words. One must follow compassion and concern for the person who is preaching to. One may need to even pay attention to his petty material problems if necessary. Basic etiquette must be followed when another devotee is preaching. We should not be suddenly interrupted unless there is something urgent. Basic courtesies must be followed. Example, wishing with a smile, being helpful if someone needs your help or guidance. New people should be made to feel at home and should be given great abundance of love and hospitality. At outside programs, newcomers and guests may be given preference for asking questions after the lecture.
Yeah. So the key thing is those who are preachers or you're preaching in any capacity, maybe Bhakti Vrikshas or Sunday programs or one-on-ones. One is sometimes people say, Prabhuji, you speak so nicely, you speak so nicely. I tell them this, listen, you didn't see me the first couple of years. When you speak, people get affected, they listen to you. Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you the secret. The secret is this, that before I speak and I give lectures, first thing I do is I go and seek blessings in my temple room. I pray, I bow my head, and I pray to our Shishi Gornitai that today, whatever I speak, may our Acharya's words come out of it. And please let at least one heart be touched by my class today. And may they come closer to you, Krishna. That is one. The second is I repeat what I've heard from Srila Prabhupada's books. Basically, I do a copy and a paste. And in between, I share maybe some realizations. These are the three things. So if you do these three things, one is don't think that you are smart. Don't think that you know everything. Whatever intelligence and memory that you have comes from Krishna. So you seek his blessings. Second, repeat what he says. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Third is don't get puffed up after that. Okay? Whatever you get, accolades or criticisms, take the criticisms positively and improve on it. If you get accolades, offer it back to Srila Prabhupada. These are very important things. And know your audience. Know your audience very well. If your audience is new people, speak accordingly. If your class was meant to be high-fi philosophy, but 50% new people showed up, right away, change your approach and speak according to the audience. Look at your audience. If your audience is getting distracted, falling asleep, if they're going cross-eyed, just trying to keep their eyes open, end the program quickly. Get your message across quickly. Don't keep speaking. So good preachers can adapt and change right away. Right away. So very important. Next. Okay. Dhananjay Krishna Prabhu, did you already read? Pradeep Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Did you read already? No, right?
No. Once.
Okay, please go ahead.
Prasadam. Other etiquettes. Prasadam. First and foremost, one should eat only prasadam. That is food that has been offered to Lord Krishna with devotion. Ideally, one should eat food that is cooked by devotees, offered to the Lord by devotees, served by the devotees. One should try to come as close to this ideal standard as is practically possible, given the limitations of city life and needs of preaching. Unless absolutely necessary for preaching or service, food cooked by non devotees should be avoided. Sometimes, while traveling or in the course of some, some preaching or service or professional work, one may be compelled to eat in a restaurant. One should select, if possible, a restaurant which is purely vegetarian, and even then be careful to order items which are without onion and garlic. The boga must be offered in the proper way at home. Prasadam should not be wasted. Excess prasadam should be put on another plate before eating. While serving prasadam, the serving spoon should not touch the plate or the half-eaten prasadam. Before honoring prasadam, appropriate prayer should be chanted.
Okay, very self-explanatory. I have just one more topic left. Let's go to the next slide. Sumit Prabhu, would you like to read?
When guests visit the house, the bhoga that has been offered to the home deities become Mahaprasadam, which should be distributed to all present in small quantities. Fresh, hot prasadam should be served out as per requirement to all the guests, including Guru and Sannyasis. When senior Vaishnavas are present, we should patiently wait till they have begun eating, and only then we should begin eating, unless we are told otherwise. One should get up after finishing prasadam only, when all have finished eating, except with the permission of senior Vaishnavas present. After one has begun eating prasadam, one should not touch anything else with the right hand. We should not distribute prasadam unless we have washed both hands.
Yes, this is a very, very important thing, and we must be very careful, especially if we visit any other temples, any other places where service is being done. And after we have eaten, if we start serving, they will wonder, which community you're from, who's your Shiksha Guru, are you reading, are you chanting? Because this is a very basic thing that we should remember, that serving prasadam, we must wash our hands and then serve. And that's why there's always somebody who's serving prasadam. And even the bhoga items, prasadam is something that, I finished eating. Okay, let's talk about this. Here it talks about guests and visiting Vaishnavas. So it says that it's so important when Vaishnavas come, devotees come, that we try to serve them something fresh, something hot, or even cold. What it means is that not something that is, been left over for the last 2-3 days and nobody's there to eat at home, so let me serve. Same way to the prasadam when we share with other devotees. Sometimes I've seen it happens where, after the prasadam is all done, and I have something left over, and nobody wants to. Beta, you want to eat this? No, tomorrow I'm not going to eat. Oh, Betty, you will eat this tomorrow? No, I'm not going to eat. Okay, okay, can you go and drop it off at this Prabhu or Mataji's house? Well, that Prabhu or Mataji will accept the prasadam nicely, but that mindset is not right, because nobody is going to eat at home now, and बच जाएगा तो जाके उनको दे, उनको बहुत पसंद है. अरे अगर उनको पसंद है तो उनके लिए पहले से निकाल के रखो और पहले से उनको बोल दो कि आज मैं भेजने वाला हूँ. Sometimes I get prasadam at home at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30. Now imagine 9:30 I'm done with prasadam, and sometimes I know 9:30 prasadam has come. Why? Because it was a leftover from there. We take it, honor it in a humble mood. Jai, thank you so much, prasadam, you've come. We'll honor it. But it gives me a lesson. I'm not going to do this to somebody else. We are not going to give somebody prasadam 9-10 o'clock at night after we are done eating prasadam. That means we don't respect devotees. How can we do something like that? So prasadam, and while honoring prasadam also, we have to be very respectful to prasadam. Prasadam is none other than Krishna. So as much as we give respect to Krishna, accordingly we'll get his mercy and blessings also. Let's go to the next slide. And let's see. Shushila Gaurangi, would you like to read?
Sure, Prabhu. The kitchen. The kitchen is an extension of the altar because whatever is cooked there will be offered to the deities. So whatever one is doing in the kitchen should be done with care and attention for the deities. Only clean, uncontaminated clothes must be worn in the kitchen. Clothes that have been used outside or in the bathroom cannot be used. Fingernails should be clean and clipped. Hands must be washed upon entering the kitchen before beginning cooking. In the temple, bath must be taken before cooking. At home, it is preferable to do so. One should not put anything in one's mouth in the kitchen. One should not rinse one's mouth in the kitchen sink. In particular, one should not taste or smell a preparation to test it. Where possible, there should be no eating or drinking in the kitchen area. If this is unavoidable, the curtain in front of the deities must be drawn. The vessels in which bhoga is cooked for the deities in particular, and the plates and the cups in which bhoga is offered should be kept and washed separately from the plates, cups, and glasses in which the family devotees eat or drink. If one touches the floor or the dustbin or the lower part of one's body, one should wash one's hands.
Very self-explanatory. At the same time, for our center, for example, we don't have a separate kitchen per se, deity kitchen. We have one kitchen which is very close to our prasadam hall. But after having prasadam, after we've eaten, we should not wash our hands in that kitchen sink. Even if it's, I've mentioned this before, we should go to the bathroom and wash, because that's where we clean our deity stuff and all our prasadam utensils also. So again, for some other reason you have to go in and wash, it's fine. But after eating prasadam, go to the bathroom and wash your hands. And kitchen is an extension, it's a representation of Srimati Radharani also, and we have to be very, very careful of how we handle. Okay, and the last slide, next. Sakari Kaur Mataji, would you like to read?
Sure, Hare Krishna.
Here you go.
Kitchen continued. There should be no unnecessary talking in the kitchen. The cooking platform, stove, sink, etc. should be cleaned up before and after cooking. One should work carefully but efficiently and avoid cluttering. Anything that has fallen to the floor cannot be put on the tables. If a vegetable falls on the floor, it may be washed and then used. One must not enter the kitchen straight after using the toilet unless one has taken a bath. Mahaprasadam should not be eaten directly from the deity's plate, but it should be transferred to another vessel or plate before being eaten. The temple standard is that one should not begin eating until the deity's plates have been washed.
Yeah, very important. Sometimes that happens where the plate does come and we want to taste it, but just be patient. Let's wait till the deity plates are washed, and after that we can taste or honor prasad. So this ends my part of the sections part 1 and 2. Now part 3 and 4 will be done by Nimai Karuna Prabhu next week and the week after. And part 5 and 6 will be done by Ram Tulsi Prabhu on the 3rd and the 4th weeks from today. So I'll just, if anybody has any question or comments or suggestions, or if you liked it, didn't like it, please raise your hand and feel free to ask. In any of the topics that I covered, because there was so much to cover, so I could not wait for question and answers there. Okay, if there are no questions, we'll call it a night, and please join again. Next week, it's a continuation. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right, Jaidrapati Mataji, you just raised your hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful topic, Prabhuji. So many things to learn. I want to know about the Nirmalya, more about the Nirmalya, like when it falls, and we should not step on the prasadam, right? It falls. So, can you explain more about that? Why, the reason why we should not step on, to explain the kids, it will be easy. Can you please explain?
I mean, if it's specific to a kid, just ask the kid, take anything that the kid likes and keep it on the floor and say, and then step on it. And they'll say, Mama, what are you doing? Why are you stepping on my painting or my this or that? Feet is not the cleanest part of the body. And, that's why we do not step on anything. So similarly, these are transcendental, these are spiritual items. These are blessings from the Lord. So obviously we have to be careful. At least unknowingly is one thing, but knowingly we have to be careful to not step on that. Okay. Is that right?
Yeah, no, Prabhuji.
Anything else? Okay, so Vadrani Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Wonderful class as usual. One point I like that, Prabhuji, when serving the prasadam, when the devotees come for the again for second serving, that time the serving devotee should be very careful not to touch the plate. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, that's also, and this is very natural. It's not something that's commonly followed. So the point that Mataji is making is this, that even first time or second time generally, is that if I'm serving you and this is the plate, that my spoon, my finger is my spoon, it should not touch your plate, because your plate has been is impure because you've eaten from that, in the sense that I cannot touch this prasadam spoon to your plate. So when we serve, I just pour it from the top. So make sure not to touch. And somebody, if by mistake touches, don't yell at them. That's another etiquette. Don't think that, sometimes mistakes are done by devotees. So be careful. And also when you said second time, right, second serving, that is also very, very, we have to be careful how we, if there's less prasadam or something like that, then we have to be very polite in how we say it. Not that, hey, not right now, we have to, I mean, sometimes, and again, I see who it is and how much it is. I've seen devotees' relationships completely spoil and lose respect for the server because of the way the person said. I've seen it myself. And I've seen even one situation I remember very nicely. I'll tell you this true story. Everybody takes prasadam. Everybody's done with prasadam. This one Mataji comes at the end. I'm standing there. The server is there. This Mataji comes and says, "Oh, can I get the pakoda?" Okay, there's 2 pakodas left. And this person serving says, "No, we have to serve others also." And just the moment the person said no, this person said, "Okay, never mind. It's okay." Walked away. And then later I said, "Listen, everybody's pretty much done. What's the problem giving it to this person?" The person was a little bit, I had to explain that. And I saw at the end, actually, there was a few more left. And this person there was not 2 left, there was a bunch of it left. And this person refused. And this person asked for 1 pakoda. And at the end of the day, I saw there was only 1 pakoda left in that serving pot. But what happened? Relationship spoiled. And I saw it wasn't that there was there was no line, there was 0 line. But sometimes, because being in a certain position that we are given, we lose complete intelligence on how to react. The best way, I'll tell you the secret to also how to deal in the situations. Okay? Think about this. put yourself in the other person's shoes, always. And you become, right, the person who you are. Meaning you are on the other side, and now what you are going to do, you do to that person, and then see how it feels. And you will get the answer 99% of the time. I always see that. If I say this to this person, how is that person going to feel? If I was there, how would I feel? Okay, I shouldn't do that. And that's why it is very easy to take lead positions or be in a position where we are interacting with people. If you're interacting with pots, only we will make noise with the pots when we hit the pot here and there. The pots by itself will not make noise. But when we are serving devotees, we have to be extra careful. You know the story about, was it Rupa Goswami, who was seeing a pastime of Radha and Krishna on a swing, playing together. The tree branch comes down, Radharani is hanging onto it, and then Krishna is pushing down, and then he releases, and Radharani gets pulled up, and Goswamiji laughs. And while he's laughing at that pastime in meditation, what happens is a handicapped old person is walking by, and he thinks that this person, this Vaishnava, is laughing at me. And the moment that person feels hurt, the pastime disappears. And Sanatana Goswami says, well, I think you offended some devotee. So call all the people on your village and feed them prasad. He calls everybody. One person doesn't show up. He goes to that person and says, why didn't you come? He says, because I'm hurt by your gesture. What did I do? That day I passed in front of your kutir and you were laughing at me because of my situation. He said, oh, Krishna, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at the pastimes of Radha and Krishna that I was meditating upon. So we have to be very careful. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. Vanshakal patarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anandakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Wonderful class.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. My thank you from you all is when you put this into application. And when you come across these situations and you remember, oh, that day I heard that class in which Prabhu said something from Vaishnava Etiquette manual, so let me implement that. That is the real thank you to me, or showing your gratefulness. Thank you. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu.